Hello and welcome to another installment of the Dugout podcast. I am your co-host Andrew, alongside my fellow co-host Marissa, and we are back. We are back in the hot seat, and eagerly anticipating.
Eagerly?
I am eagerly anticipating another fun-filled night of discussion of all things football and cricket. May it be insightful, may it be sometimes entertaining and amusing. At least I think tonight it will be for me. And I do respect the fact that you saw none of the football this weekend because, folks, she was taking a quote unquote mental health break.
Don't want my mental out there.
Wait, it's true. No, I should not. I apologize.
Yes.
I apologize.
But I'm serious though. I think taking a break from the game got me sound like I played the game or something. But just taking a break. I mean, Chelsea has been seriously depressing me.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like I was getting a little too amped up watching them. Like every misplaced pass.
I can tell.
So I just say, you know what? Let me just take a step back. And I feel good. I ain't saying I can watch them again anytime soon, but I feel good. Not laughing at me then.
I mean, you know what? We're both having, somewhat depressing seasons by our recent standards. So, forgive me.
All right.
But yes, so let's get started. No, as I said, you didn't look at any of the football from the last weekend.
So I can just be asking you questions basically about the game and you'll be telling me how it was.
No problem.
Yeah.
Folks, she was true to her word. She's an honest lady.
Yeah.
She didn't watch any of the Chelsea Tottenham game. But nevertheless, I was still, entertained and amused by Chelsea fans. One in particular who called me the Sunday before the game began to ask me kickoff time. Then call me back at halftime. They call me back at full time. And then the Monday they send me a voice note, teaching people, children, and the internet. I said a voice note. I said, well, you're going to ask this at the end of class, or listen to it rather, at the end of class. And the person decided to give Grandpa a tongue lashing. Oh, and that was the end of it. The Monday evening afterward, they call him again.
Well.
To rant about one Grandpa.
Christopher is a mess.
He really is. But yes, Chelsea lost their 100% visitation record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, going down 2-0 to 2 second half goals from Oliver Skip, of all people. His first goal for Tottenham, and Harry Kane. Well, Harry.
So how was the game?
Scrappy.
Would you say Spurs deserve to win?
Honestly, on the balance of play to me, marginally maybe. Maybe Tottenham looked a bit more threatening than Chelsea did, but I wasn't overly impressed with Tottenham's performance.
Okay.
I don't want to be too critical of it because it is a derby. Sometimes we do get scrappy affairs.
True.
But I felt as though Chelsea lacked cohesiveness in the final third. The first half was all about aggression, scrappy, law fouls, and whether or not the referee could keep things intact because they had a couple fouls that, presented opportunities for flare-ups.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I wouldn't say the game had an overabundance of, high-quality moments.
Right.
The one high-quality moment was the first goal from a Chelsea, poor clearance from Enzo that obviously, rocketed back into the net. And the second goal was a corner set piece. So that tells you that Tottenham were really... I didn't think Tottenham were great, to be honest. I just think that, Tottenham, played the game that they wanted to play.
You don't have to be great to beat Chelsea these days, though. You just got to turn up, apparently. Turn up and get 3 points.
Being as that may. that is my assessment of the game.
Anyways, what I would say is 9 points away from safety. So we should be staying up for another season.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
But I don't know what you want me to
statement. Say. You know something? I often make a joke when Liverpool are doing badly. I haven't had to make this joke in a while, obviously. But I often say, at least, you got good enough players I wouldn't get relegated. And I think, you can.
Yeah.
You have my permission to use that joke as well.
Just need 9 more points and we'll be safe for next season.
Yeah. there's one talking point in the game that I do want to address. And it was the Ziyech red card then overturned and reduced to a yellow card.
Wait, VAR actually helped Chelsea?
Yeah.
Let me hear about this.
I'm not sure. Okay, so there was a flashpoint where I can't remember who made the tackle, but somebody tackled somebody, and they had a bit of pushing and shoving and whatnot. And Emerson Royale came from down by he goes back and barged in to Ziyech. So when he did, Ziyech turned and basically put his hand in his face, right? And just walked away. I'm not sure if the referee saw it, but the referee did produce a red card to Ziyech. Then after producing a red card to Ziyech, and at this time, at first he spoke to linesman, who possibly told him that something had happened. Then he produced a red card. Then VAR was in his ear, he goes to the monitor, he looks at it, he changes the card to yellow. Right? So there was some confusion. And you could tell me if I'm wrong. I hope I'm not wrong though. But this is just my opinion of what happened. So to my understanding, what should happen? And it's funny because I watched the cricket this morning, and South Africa, and I when hockey or the reviews are happening, people talk through what the steps are, what's not, and I'm like, yeah, football. I said it in jest last week, but football could really sometimes benefit from something.
That's what I tell you last week too. I tell you, I really believe that it makes for transparency and it helps you to understand what they're thinking. Because otherwise, I guess that you're saying you were super confused at what happened in the Chelsea Tottenham game. So it helps you to at least understand what at least is going through referee's mind at that point. Right. So what happened? What was your interpretation of what should have happened?
Right. So for me, what should have happened? Because I was on the assumption that VAR had brought the incident to his attention. In his ear, like violent conduct was displayed, and this is the player, whatever the case would be, or linesman maybe have said something. But then he goes to the monitor, he looks at it, watches it over, and he changes it to yellow. Now, for me, this is where I am confused. And it's not because, and it's clear, I'm not hating on Chelsea. But I felt, according to the laws of the game, it should have been red, right? Because the laws of the game do suggest that there should be no violent conduct displayed against an opponent.
Right.
And I think, and it wasn't like it was a shove with a hand in the face, right? To me, that is violent conduct, right? That is whatever case it be. And it seems like, he produces a red card, then VAR, I'm not sure, it's whatever confusion, it's VAR, like they insured it to the time, going to check again. I think that's what happened. But I was watching, the post-match analysis, and I had I think his last name is Gallagher, some refereeing.
Jeremiah Gallagher or something.
Yes. He was trying to explain what he, Stuart Atwell's reasoning behind the decision. And he said, and I disagree, and like I said, I think it's a red because it's violent conduct to me. But he says, what he saw, or what he thinks it should have been, was an act of aggression, and not necessarily an act of violent conduct. And my thing is that I teach English, right? So most of the time aggression is kind of violent though. So I honestly listened to the explanation from Mr. Gallagher. It looked like he almost confused himself as well.
That's what's happened when you try to defend somebody to your help.
Exactly. I'm talking about decisions are right one.
But I don't know. What I think it is though? It just come in my mind. I'm a big conspiracy theorist. I feel like VAR is on a redemption streak. So remember VAR came out and talked about certain decisions that should have gone the other way. And one decision that they felt should have gone the other way was when West Ham got a goal disallowed for the foul on Mendy. Remember at the bridge? When they equalized for 2-2, I think it was, then they had this, it wasn't really a foul, but they called it a foul on Mendy. Right. VAR said, no, that shouldn't have been called a foul, so the goal should have stood. So then when we get to West Ham now and should have had a clear penalty, VAR decided that, he was breaking foul. Right. This time now, remember the Cucurella here pull? Clear consensus that should have been a red.
Right.
So then maybe he like, you know what? I gotta give back one for this fixture.
So you're gonna correct the mistake.
Yeah, I just been playing a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen red cards been.
I didn't see the incident though, so I can't say yeah or no. But I trust your judgment.
I've seen red cards been given for less. Like for example, as I was telling Christopher, by laws of game, it is violent conduct. It should be red. I'm like, drop a smart Vidic on your chin in Champions League final, like a 2-finger slap. I get a red card. It's baffling to me, but you know what? Like I said, As humans, let's accept that they don't always understand how to implement the rules that they're tasked with. And, when that is the case, this is what happens. But at the end of the day, I guess the good thing is that, well, not a good thing, but I guess the peace of mind. With that, Tottenham still won the game, so it wouldn't be a case where, Tottenham could argue like Ziyech has scored a winner, and then Tottenham would say, well, he should have been off the pitch.
Right.
It's not one of those situations.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, game didn't really have a lot of quality. Tottenham shared it in the end. Chelsea seemed to be searching for their best team, their best, lineup. A lot of things, a lot of new players, and like you said, what I noticed about Chelsea, because I don't watch every Chelsea game, but the ones that I've seen since Potter has been in charge, how they film first half, or they film the game really until Felix got sent off. There was the game against West Ham where he felt they all were pretty good. There was the Dortmund first half, or Dortmund game rather, that you said. So you're having these moments where Chelsea are showing encouraging signs, but they're not getting the rubber green. They're not converting chances. They're not getting the W's. And then mix up with that, because not only all the games where Chelsea have been unfortunate to lose. You have the Southampton games. You have, the game
Poor
against City.
performances.
Exactly. So I think that's where the pressure on Potter is coming from. It's like his team is searching for cohesiveness and consistency.
Well, I get the sense that the owners really want to back him, but I think that they really want to back him, but they need to see results. And from what I saw in all the post-match calls for sacking Potter, they said that the next 2 games are critical. And concerning Chelsea can't buy a win, then I guess we're going to see Graham Potter sacked by next week. I personally don't want to see him sacked. But there needs to be some sort of improvement, because I don't know, like that Southampton game was bad, and I don't think Tottenham game was much better. So I don't know. Watching Chelsea is a depressing task right now. I saw this stat that really made me depressed this morning. It said that since, I think it was November, or since the World Cup or something like that, we've scored 6 goals in 15 games across competitions. In that same period, Rashford alone has scored 18 goals for Manchester United.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not good enough. We have more games than goals this season.
Right.
We have only outscored, I think, 4 or 5 teams in the league. And that's having, I guess, now the 3rd best defense in the league.
Right.
But we can't score goals.
Can't score goals. Or sorry, not can't, don't.
You know what's less than a goal a game? That is mad.
As a matter of fact, I do not know what's less than a goal a game. I can't speak from first-hand experience right now. At least to my recollection. But nevertheless,
We know what Chelsea know?
No, there's one more thing that I wanted to mention.
Oh, gosh.
Hopefully I didn't lose my train of thought there just now in making that slight comment against Chelsea. But the one thing that I think will go against Potter, or sorry, the one criticism that I would have of Graham Potter at this stage is, as Sim Christopher mentioned, and I agree. Like Ziyech was about to be loaned out to PSG, and now he's starting most games. So it seems like I'm not sure.
Before you continue,
Yeah, go
right?
ahead.
The first game after PSG was the giant transfer window was what? Do you remember? I can't remember either. I think it was a game we drew though. So everybody called that a pity start. But no, apparently we gained here a pity run.
So like, I mean, I don't.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the players that are being used, and like some of the players that I felt were showing encouraging signs.
Yeah.
Like, late last year, into the start of the year, like the midfield guy from Aston Villa.
Chukwuemeka,
Thank you.
has not been seen.
Has not been seen. Has been,
Lewis Hall has not been seen.
Yeah, so like I quite, so that's where it's a little bit puzzling. So I get the sense that right now he's feeling the pressure, and he's kind of like, I don't know if I want to say, like, to me I feel like it might be a case where he's trying to do too much, or like overthinking things a bit.
Maybe.
Just
needs to
keep
just
it
go
natural,
back to
do what you
basics.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that might help. Because I don't know, so it's like Lee said, you have certain games where your team showed encouraging signs from an attacking perspective, but no, of late, it looks like I can't really understand what type of style or pattern the team trying to play. I'm not sure if he's trying to overcomplicate it or giving the guys too much information.
Maybe. Anyways, I'm done with that.
I think that brings us to the end of our Chelsea discussion.
Great.
But I'm missing a little bit of her. I know we're going to turn our attention to the Carabao Cup final. And Manchester United ended their drought up for a trophy with the EFL Cup win. Is that sincere?
Not really.
But yes, Eric Ten Hag has got his hands on a piece of silverware.
What was the final score?
2-0. 2-0. I mean, okay, so a couple things I'm going to touch on really, really quickly. Luis Karius was in goal.
I forget about that,
Luis Karius.
I should have watched the game just for that.
And I would argue that the defeat was not his fault.
Okay.
He didn't wasn't our fault for any of the first goal was a free kick. I don't think he could have done anything about it.
Okay.
Good delivery, good header. The second goal, the shot from Rafford took a deflection off of Sven Botman.
Okay.
And it looped up over his head and went in net. I heard the commenters. His starting position was low to the ground, but I guess because expecting Rafford to hit hard and low. So I wouldn't be too critical of him for that.
Fair enough.
But apart from that, he made a couple decent saves. Mostly saves you would expect him to make. So it wasn't a case where there were any blunders, so to speak, in this final from his perspective. In terms of my thoughts on the game, I don't want something like you from last week. But I mean, I wasn't overly impressed again with Man United's general play. Like I felt Man U had a game plan and they executed well. They were tough to beat. They were solid at the back. Because Newcastle obviously started the game brighter in many respects, because you could argue Newcastle retained the ball well for the most part. The first 30 odd minutes, high energy, Sam Maximum, trying to do his thing. But what Man U did was that you could see Man U had a plan, and oftentimes Sam Maximum was like 1v2 or 3. Casemiro and Fred coming over to help, plugging gaps, and basically they're blocking the middle and forcing Newcastle to go wide and try to get around back. But at the same time, Man U were in a mid-low block, so they didn't really allow any space for Newcastle to get in behind. So chances for Newcastle, clear-cut opportunities, were at a premium.
Okay.
And I felt like that was a problem, and it didn't seem that if Newcastle had the quality of personnel, to make a difference or add a bit of penetration. So, honestly, the most likely player that seemed like he might create something for them was Sam Maximin. But for the most part, Man U basically negated any threat from Newcastle. And then the both goals came in the first half. Yes, it did.
Okay.
Towards the end of the first half, Man U get a free kick. Shaw puts in a good quality cross. Casemiro with the header. And he's been really good for Man U. I would say that. He's been very, very good.
Their player of the year for sure.
Yeah. And then, again, Newcastle lose the ball in transition. And Rafford, Newcastle lose the ball in transition. I think it was a throw-in. And the ball goes to Weghorst, who was that well, plays into Rafford, who in the left-hand channel, comes inside, then goes back outside, hits the shot with left foot, and the defender tries to put a block and it deflects and goes in net.
But how about you found, though, that Newcastle have kind of lost a bit of steam since the year start?
Honestly, right, I haven't been picked because I haven't seen many Newcastle games.
Okay.
But what I can say about Newcastle, because what I did was that I did go and take a look at their record before I had played them a couple weeks ago in the Premier League. And I found that I think they've only lost twice in the Premier League, which both times to Liverpool. But I did not do that on purpose.
I know,
but they have drawn a lot of games. So I think they have 10 minutes, 11 draws.
Oh.
And that's it. So they might be difficult to beat, but they don't win a lot of games either. So, and I remember I said that when you said that you felt as though we should speak about Newcastle more because they're in the top 4 conversation. And I said, I really don't see them getting top 4 because I feel as though although they've made some shrewd acquisitions and Eddie Howe has maybe gotten a bit of form of some of their players that were already there. Like Amaron, for example. When you look at our squad, name by name on your checklist, it's not a squad that jumps out at you and says, top 4 are better than some of the other teams, squads of other teams. So, second half, again, Newcastle have Van Puff, and I'm not sure that they genuinely look like they would have scored.
Okay.
So it's like the game also almost reminded me of the last time Man U won a trophy when they beat Ajax in Europa League final. Where Ajax played, good, attacking football. Like when Ten Hag was the manager actually, coincidentally, but Man U seemed to have we saw in defense that have the sucker punch on the break or what's not. It started reminding me of one of those games where, and we said it last week. Once Man U got ahead, we couldn't see Newcastle coming back.
Over, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, credit to Ten Hag. I mean, I still think he working miracles with that squad, and I'm envious. I would love to be in their position right now.
I concur.
At least winning some games, keeping clean sheets, scoring some goals.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
So, do you think that Man U are on their way back?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, Ten Hag seems to be a good manager, and I think if they get investment in the summer, I think it would be critical because I don't think. I feel a similar way about Man U's squad the way I feel about Arsenal squad. I feel like while Arsenal are having a very, very good season, I think that some of these players are playing a level above their actual level. That's just my opinion. And I think Ten Hag is getting a tune out to these players in a similar vein. But I do think that their squad needs surgery. And I think if they get that and Ten Hag continues to do a good job, I think that Man U will start challenging on all fronts again.
I think that the squad definitely needs some depth in quality. So you got a couple of players that you could work with: Rashford, Fernandes, Casemiro, obviously Varane.
Yeah.
Martinez. You can work with those, and then you got the other players that play, but they might not be top of the class. Like you said, they might be the ones who will be punching above their weight at this moment in time.
Right.
And that's where you then need to add incrementally, some quality to it. But for me, it's still too early to tell. Yeah, here's the reason why. Yeah, we know that Man U will look to invest, but we know that City can look to reinvest as well in the summer. Liverpool will for sure.
True.
Chelsea,
Arsenal.
Although Chelsea spent a lot of money, Chelsea, I don't think you all would splash cash again in summer massively. But I do feel as though more time spent together as a squad will strengthen it in terms of more time to gel.
Yeah.
More time to get used to things. And maybe if you all can put a run together before the end of the season, in terms of results, not necessarily position, but just in terms of results, it can restore a bit of feel-good factor in the camp. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Making that face. Sure. Never mind. I'm not going to give Chelsea any more compliments then. Or sorry, say anything. Well, that wasn't really a compliment. But anyways. So I feel like there are other teams who will try to invest. If contested at Tottenham will try to do something as well.
True.
So, like I said, and like you said, in terms of the quality of the squad, it's a squad that to me is not high on quality, in the grand scheme of things. So when these other teams invest, it's going to be interesting to see where everybody ships up. So to me, they're good signs. I like what Ten Hag is doing, but I still feel like it's too early to tell. But they're saying the right messages, this is only first of many, blah, blah, all those bull claims. You heard it, right?
No.
I can't be any picture this. Yeah, they were like, this is, they were getting their hands on the next one. This guy has to be first of many. They have a nice little mantra they're going.
Good for them. Anyways.
Yes, congrats to, well, you said it first.
Yeah, congrats.
I'll try you good. I'm not going to say that, actually. But Man U won the FL Cup. So.
Yes, the first cup on offer for the season.
So we're now
doing some Premier League predictions. Got a few games tomorrow, and then we'll go to the weekend. So Arsenal at home to Everton. Let's start 3-0 to Arsenal.
I'm gonna say 1-1. I feel like Everton may steal a point.
All right.
You don't feel so?
Nope. Liverpool at home to Wolves.
Maybe 1-0.
To Liverpool?
Maybe.
2-1 Wolves.
Okay, that's possible. I lost 3-0 there, right? A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but they look like a side transform over Lopetegui, that's what his name.
Yeah, Lopetegui.
They've been
But
playing
thanks for
well
telling me
under
that.
him.
Well, sorry. I take back the 1-0 and they can go and concur with Marissa's
No take
assessment.
backsies.
You know, remember she had a mental health break, so she's
Oh,
refreshed
gosh.
and she can see things clearly now. Me go without to want to Wolves. Since Wolves say that looks transformed.
Anyways, Man City at home to Newcastle. Saturday morning, early kickoff.
I'm gonna go with a 2-0 City win.
The only reason I can give City this is because of the crowd. I mean, not them fans that vocal, but
Yeah,
because they're at home.
Go ahead.
The fact they're home, but if this was anywhere else, I would go 1-1, but I'll go 2-0 as well.
No, I'll go 2-0 because that I don't know if Newcastle will recover from the disappointment of missing out on the cup.
True.
They're fan base either, so.
Fair enough. Chelsea at home to Leeds.
What time is this game playing?
11 o'clock.
Barbados time?
Yeah.
I don't think 11 o'clock I could watch that. I'm gonna go 1-0 Chelsea. Leeds did a point manager.
2-0 Leeds.
Leeds did a point manager. Wait, let me retract that statement, boy. I look a little iffy. 1-0 Chelsea. Leeds no point manager. Chelsea don't score. I end up losing all a new manager bumps. Like you said, it don't take a lot to beat Chelsea these days. No, I ain't still good. I ain't still good to 1-0. You can't lose every game.
2-0 Leeds.
Okay. You plan to watch that game?
Nope.
Okay. So
Arsenal-
the mental health break from Chelsea being extended for what?
Yeah. I'm not gonna watch Chelsea until they win again. And that's not because I can't take my side losing. Because that'd be silly. It's just I can't deal with the poor football that I be seeing. I can't. So no. I ain't watching it until they win the game again. Or they could show me they could win.
People, this is what pain looks like.
Arsenal at home to Bournemouth. Like me, right?
3-0 Arsenal.
Go with 4 actually. Bournemouth just look. Anyways. Tottenham away to Wolves. Haha.
2-1 Wolves.
I agree. Because Tottenham beat big teams and then go and lose the next week. So, yeah. 2-1
I just
Wolves.
go in fact that Wolves is the team transformed.
Sure. Ooh. Liverpool Man United on Sunday?
Yeah. But don't worry about that though. Don't worry about that. Do not worry about that.
Man United 2, Liverpool 1.
Do you have to predict that? Correct. That Anfield, right?
Yeah.
Nah, though. I ain't predicting mine to be Anfield. So I ain't good with a 2-1. I think Liverpool and Rose herself. I get lucky me.
Next week's show should be interesting.
No. I will not be a true Liverpoolian if I come on here and predict that mine will actually. Mine might win though.
You know
Mine
what?
win
I
better
don't
form.
blame you because that's like me and Spurs last week. I could not.
You can't. Some things you can't.
Exactly.
Stomach it. You can't.
It's agreed.
Get out your lungs. You know what I mean?
100%. So that's it for football. So right now we're going to take a short break for a word from our sponsors. Whole Health Pharmacy, located in Jordan's Complex, Speightstown, St. Peter, carries a variety of products to take care of you and your health. Essential oils, muscle rubs, and the run-of-the-mill medications. And definitely don't forget your vitamins. Vinci Sea Salt, air humidifiers, tumblers, and women's havens pads too. We got it all for you. Don't forget your Barbados and natural Vinci snacks. So for sure you're gonna keep coming back. Ever hear about structured water? Well, tell your son, tell your daughter. Whole Health Pharmacy. More than a pharmacy, we take care of you and your health. And we're back.
Yes.
So, time for some cricket. My solace over the last... It's so amazing how cricket has just brought me such joy. Probably because West Indies ain't playing.
Don't know why.
Probably because West Indies wasn't playing.
Okay.
The World T20 final, the game I actually went home and watched,
Right.
was on Sunday. I thought it was a very Australian performance. That's all I could say. But first, before we get to the final, well done to South Africa on upsetting the status quo and making it to the final. They were full value for that. When I thought they played really, really well against England, I had actually said, and this is not hindsight, it's 2020. I actually said when they won the toss that they made the right decision to bat, and anything between 160 and 170 in a semi-final game with their bowling attack would have been competitive, and it turned out to be more than competitive. But Australia just proved too much, and I really think they set the benchmark for other teams. I know the South African captain was like, "You guys are very annoying." She said it in jest, but I can understand why. But one thing that I love about this Australian team is it's not only that they have the quality in batting and bowling. In the field, like they were so good in the death against India in the field. And I think ultimately that's what got them across the line. So I think they're a side that they're gonna beat you in at least two out of the three departments, and that ultimately gets them over the line. I may be biased considering it's a cricket level, but I think that they can go down as one of the greatest sporting teams of all time. The way they play the game. I know women's cricket is not at the level it should be at, but when I watch how they play the game, it's not just about having the players, it's about the mentality for me. They can win a game from anywhere. I actually wrote an article saying that, shameless plug, they're a side that they deal with pressure better than any other side, in my opinion. I think you take Australia and you put that in the semi-final against South Africa, and they would have handled the pressure of the crowd and of a confident South Africa better than England did. They take pressure on better than any other team, and I think that that's the true mark of a champion side. So you could talk about all the batters that they have, the great fielders, the great bowlers, but for me, it's the mentality that sets them apart, and that mentality thing is something we'll talk about in our next cricket segment. But I want to hear from you first about your thoughts on maybe just the World Cup in general, whatever little bit of it you saw.
Well, I didn't see enough of it to comment on the World Cup in general.
Okay.
So I will not do that to myself.
All right.
But I did watch a bit of the final.
Okay.
I had your game on, so I was in between both of them. I don't normally watch women's cricket and the teams that well to know their strengths and their weaknesses, but I felt as though seeing South Africa restrict Australia to like 157 or so.
You felt that they were in the game.
Yes, they felt like they were in the game, and I said to myself, so South Africa really produced a really quality, fielding performance and bowling performance.
Because their bowling attack is quality, to be honest.
But I went back and watched your game. And when I came back to TV, it's like, let's say, fourth over. And South Africa was 8 for naught. And I said to myself, either this pitch is really, really hard to score upon, or, Australia got to say good with the bowling. And you just kind of clarify what it was. Maybe a combination of the two. And then they came back and they peeped again, and they saw I can't remember what the score was at that point in time. But I felt like South Africa would have lost, because I could tell that, okay, you're giving yourself too much to do here.
At the end, yeah.
And I was surprised that they actually got up to 137. I was like, okay, but clearly they gave themselves too much to do. And I felt as though obviously it had to be that Australia's bowling attack had them in a really, really strong stranglehold on the run rate. Because I was actually, as I was watching the game, being Australia batting, I was like, well, this is really good from South Africa, keeping the run rate down to under 8. Because although Australia had wickets in hand, like you said, it never felt as though Australia got away from South Africa in terms of the batting score. Right. I'm like, okay, well, this is chasable. But I guess clearly it was wrong.
I think the pitch wasn't like the best wicket to bat on. But what I would say is South Africa are notoriously slow starters in power play. Right. And I feel like they bat in the power play exactly how Australia would want. So when Australia get that foot on your throat, don't expect them to let it up. So one against England, because they had a similarly slow start against England in semi-final, but they kept wickets in hand and they were able to accelerate. It's harder to do that against Australia because they have, like, I think 9 out of their 11 players can bowl. Right. So they have all sorts of bowling. They have leg spin, off spin, pace, swing, every base covered.
Right.
So it's harder to do what they did against England against the Australian bowling attack. Could they have gone a bit harder? Possibly, yes. I believe that they could have. But I think that in the final against this Australia side, they know how to strangle you to death. And I think the mistake they made is not following India's blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And India's blueprint was go hard.
Mm-hmm.
Go hard at Australia, put the pressure back on them. Yes, Australia can handle the pressure, but I think you still got to try to put that pressure on them.
Right.
And I don't think South Africa did that enough in the power play.
Yeah. They were said that they're notoriously slow starters.
Yeah.
The late tortoise.
Tears.
But
Real tears. Oh gosh.
But you know what? Like you said, congrats to South Africa for disrupting the score, because we did, both of us predicted that England would be an Australia-England final. So I'm happy that we saw a different team.
And my thing is, I really like South Africa, and they're playing without, and a lot of people don't realize it, their hard-hitting opener retired. One of their middle order batters, dependable batters in the side for like a decade, retired. Then they're without their regular captain over her fitness issues that I will not even get into, because I think judging a cricketer for how fast they can run a 2K is really and truly not the best fitness measurement for somebody that bowls leg spin and bat seam in the order. But anyways, that's another story for another time. So they did it without 3 key players, and I think it shows where women's cricket can go. And I'm really looking forward to the WPL starting on Saturday. I'm definitely going to be watching all those games while I take my mental health break from Chelsea. And yeah, I just really enjoy where women's cricket is going. And yeah, I can't wait till we get another. I think actually Australia may be coming to the West Indies next year or this year. I'll be going to that for sure. But I think West Indies can really learn a lot, and all teams can learn a lot from how Australia play the game. That's why I like watching them play, because it's their mentality for me that impresses me.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you go to the West Indies Australia home series in the WPL, sorry, no, wait, what was it called? Just a series.
Yeah, just a series.
Okay, sorry. But when you go to that series, and I'm assuming that I'll probably tag along with you. We're going just for the experience. I'm not expecting a W on our team's behalf. Okay, just make sure.
Just for the experience.
Because we're referring how Australia does bowl, and we know how West Indies women bat.
Yeah.
For the most part. Hopefully they improve though.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, of course.
Don't get me wrong.
Of course, you'll always root for the Wendy's.
But we're going with the expectancy that,
we're going for the experience.
Maybe a very short game.
Yeah. We're going for the experience.
Bring a shot too?
Man, shot in the cricketer, man. We got plans for shot late in the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably shouldn't have said that on the year. We discussed that with you after. Anyways, so now we're on the topic of mentality.
Right.
Let's start England, New Zealand.
Right.
Now, I hate the term baseball, so I will not be using baseball.
Right.
But as you know, they call it baseball because Brendan McCullum, aka Baz, is the coach of England, and he's now instilled this more aggressive style of cricket. And people are lauding it, people are praising it, and I agree, it makes Test cricket very entertaining. But ultimately, to me, the only thing he has come in and changed is the mindset. Like, they have a mindset, we're going to attack no matter what, with bat and with ball. And it's funny because I remember in the disastrous Ashes series last year when they were in Australia, Joe Root was, I think he had some issue with his stomach, so he was at hospital, and Stokes had a captain. And I did notice there was a different aggression with Stokes' captaincy in terms of how the bowlers were bowling and the field placing, and then it kind of reverted to tight when Root came back. Right. I was like, So then Brendan McCullum and what you name Ben Stokes, right? Coming together with both having that sort of attacking mindset and instilling it in the team has brought about a real transformation of English Test cricket. They went from being beaten soundly here in the Caribbean last year to now only having lost 2 of their last 12 tests when Joe Root could not buy a win in 2022. And you said
soundly. I remember the series now. You mentioned
I didn't care if it was 1-0. It was
no, it wasn't that. But what I was remembering. But I think I had to take a screenshot of it. I put it on my WhatsApp status, I think. When Joe Root faced the dressing room, I let her fight.
Yeah, you know they never like them always expect to come here and win, so they never like when they lose here.
And I remember I think it's that big caption was face to face Joe Root.
I remember when you put it up.
That's
Yeah.
funny for Joe.
So I think England has really approached games with an attacking mindset, and I think that's why and I said it before about the Australian women's team, mindset is so critical in sport. It's like the general players are still the same. Ben Stokes, Joe Root, Zach Crawley opening, the bowlers are the same. But it's like they have a different mindset now. Yesterday they were 82 for 5 chasing 259. And Joe Root stepping out and planting men over the head for 6 and stuff. And in that position a year ago, England would have folded for 110 all out. England lost by 1 run. I'm going to praise New Zealand a bit because I thought that their comeback was excellent. But I just, even though you know how I feel about English cricket. But the fact, I feel that I need to praise it because the mindset shift is making the games more interesting and is guaranteeing that you get entertaining cricket and you get results from Test cricket. But I do have to praise New Zealand. They got soundly drubbed in the first Test.
Right.
They got soundly drubbed in the first innings here. They were asked to follow on, and on the back of another Kane Williamson 100, who is now New Zealand's top scorer in Test cricket, they got a competitive total. And even though England kept going at them, they kept responding with wickets. And I think they became only, the third side to win a Test match after being asked to follow on. It was a remarkable achievement. But more than the achievement, it was just a great game of Test cricket. And for me, again, sound like a broken record, the mindset of England to me is what is going to make them a dominant Test force again. And I actually believe that they're probably going to win the Ashes convincingly in the summer. Don't quote me on that, but I think one of the things I noticed from watching the last Ashes is that when you let Australia get on top, they're not going to relinquish you, especially if you just stay there and don't fight. Like, England folded badly in the Ashes. Folded badly. And I think with this new mindset, they're all about transferring the pressure from you back onto the opponent. And I think that's going to serve them well in the upcoming Ashes. But it really was a great Test match, though.
Right. So, England versus New Zealand. That was a 2 Test match? Or
I actually can't remember, But 2 Tests done.
Should be more.
Should be. I'm going to chat now while you're talking.
I mean, when you say mindset, you're right. You probably are correct. But, mindset oftentimes can make a difference. And maybe this is what's happening now with England. But I came into a class last week and I told my 6th form students were discussing the game. The same cricket match or whatnot. I didn't really pay much
Which
attention
one? This
to it.
one or the first Test?
I think it was the first Test.
Oh, it's only 2 Tests. Darn, that's unfortunate.
That's surprising. Because normally with, more competitive teams, you get a longer Test series, at least 3.
That would have been a good third decisive Test match, though. Anyways, go ahead.
So, I mean, I often watch the Ashes, though. If there's one series that I normally would watch, it would be the Ashes.
Yeah.
I would probably watch that. I think Australia has a very, very good side.
Yeah.
Some good bowlers, Pat Cummins, So that should also equally be competitive, and it would be interesting. I think. Okay, so you spoke about mindset. I think where might have a bit of caution about England and their
Baseball.
potential for success playing that style of cricket is that because it's interesting when England have players like Kevin Peterson, for example, the over aggressiveness was a problem. I know it's been champion or whatnot, so we'll see because although that assertiveness and aggression can be an asset. Science, I believe in Test cricket, there are moments where you have to be a bit more measured.
And play the game, yeah.
So.
I think it's interesting you say that because I think, the English media, it will be praised until they go down with flames. Yeah. So, they lose by 1 run yesterday after inserting follow on. They will still be taught, like I said, it was a great game. And,
people will be encouraged.
Yeah, but if they start playing basketball and get bowled out consistently for 150,
right.
Because it can go the other way oftentimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Teams will catch up to it. Teams will find a way to stop it. You're not going to be putting on 400 and 500 runs in a day all the time. There will be times you go down for 150 constantly. what will the response be then? That's what I'm interested to see now. But for right now, I'm gonna enjoy the ride. I think it making Test cricket very, very, very interesting. In all honesty, I see South Africa try to do a little basketball on me today, scoring out a good clip today.
Yeah, I was watching a bit of it. I watched it until I left for work.
We had a good fight back.
I saw the first video where Blackwood took the catch.
Yeah, that was
I
like
saw it,
141 for one.
Yeah. I saw that part. And I think maybe left only one person. But I left home, sorry, not BNB. But I left home and there was only one wicket down.
Yeah, and there are 314 or 317 for 8 or something like that.
Oh,
but I expect it is but I expect we to get roll over.
Yeah, because our batting is going to be the issue.
Yeah, we can't handle South Africa pacers.
Because South Africa met to 50 to 25, we will not necessarily get a lead. And if we do get a lead,
it depends on
it might not be a significant one.
Yeah, I think a lot depends on Craig and Taj. If they can grind, I like to call it grind ball. If they can grind it out for like 20, 30, 40 overs, get a shine off the ball and stuff like that,
right,
maybe it gives us a chance. But if you get rid of two of them early, yeah.
But this is it for me. This is the issue for me. Even if they were to do that, we would need one, if not both of them. Yeah, probably one.
One to at least carry on.
Batch the inning, sorry.
Right.
And then the next issue for me is that even if we have a nice little platform where we're, let's say, we're stable and in a position where we can get, close or be in the ascendancy.
Right.
Our batsmen in the middle order tend to have a tendency of throwing away the wicket.
Yeah.
That's an issue. And then the next thing that's an issue as well is that oftentimes with the West Indies batting, and you watch them a lot more than I do, they're not consistent in innings. So even if you get a good performance in the first, and you get yourself in a position where you're competitive,
right,
in the third, fourth, you would then come and get skill, or you know what I mean, and it's be like,
yeah,
whoa.
You
know? So they have a problem with consistency, and it's not consistency in terms of across test matches, it's consistency
within the game itself.
In terms of within the game itself.
Well, for this series, we also take down. I think we're also going to have a ODI and 2020 series, for which we have 2 new captains. Shea Hope is now the captain of the ODI side, and Robman Powell, captain of the T20 side. Not a fan of having 3 captains.
Also, it was no one announced since Poran resigned.
Yeah, it got announced last week or week before that.
So they didn't announce it before
that. So yeah, those are the captains. Not a fan of 3 captains personally. I think most sides have 1 captain for their white ball side and 1 for the red ball, but not like captains can make a difference. Because I mean, I don't understand how you could crash out of a T20 World Cup in such fashion, and you essentially pick the same squad. The math ain't adding. What does it say? The math ain't adding.
I haven't looked at these squads though. I've been picked.
Yeah, the only change is that Evan Lewis isn't there. All the other players are the same, and like it almost feels as if like we're not taking the report seriously. I don't know. Maybe this is the pool of players we're gonna go far with. I don't know. But
it could be because remember what we said before the World Cup was that the players that we picked were relatively young,
right? So, inexperienced.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I just hope that West Indies fans don't expect that because the captain changed, the fortunes can change. We aim for some suffering down there. But I back in Hope, I back in Powell, and I back in the side, of course, with low expectations, but I still back in them. And we'll see how it goes in South Africa.
Okay.
So that's it from me.
That's it from me as well. Like you, I'm also rooting for the team. When I do watch them occasionally. I've been taking them at a half break from the West Indies for quite a number of years.
Decades.
And you've kind of put me out the wilderness, but with these foreign tours and these times, it's been difficult for me. But
the test match starts at 4.
Right. And I imagine.
Yeah. Oh, it's being my bad, but okay. But I think South Africa is a genuinely good place in terms of time zone, because if you have day and night games, that's probably going to start at 9 o'clock our time. And then by the time you get up, you got 2 other sessions of cricket to watch. So in the test matches, so it should be relatively fine. Yeah.
And then I work. For you,
I got work too.
I'm
just at home at work.
I have free, non-contact periods. As we call them. We'll be on Wednesday, so we'll see.
Okay.
In terms of work.
That's it from us. As I always say, you can follow us at our individual handles. Marissa Simone, 91. Drew 9106. You can also follow us, the Dugout _podcast. We haven't posted much recently, but we will be back posting more regularly. Of course, Whole Health Pharmacy are sponsors with our tumblers. Doing a fantastic job as usual, keeping me what's the word? Hydrated as I talk. Because sometimes when you're talking, your mouth get dry. So it's good to have these here. Spirit Led Studios, of course, their space, their mics, their everything. So yeah, follow all of us on social media, the Dugout, Whole Health Pharmacy, Spirit Led, and stay tuned for more. We have some ideas in the works. Chat, don't get frightened. We have some ideas in the works, so stay tuned for that, and we will see you again next week.